again doing crazy jugad that there were two topazes in the market. Yeah. Initially there was some confusion in the market कि कलकत्ते से भी टोपाज आ रहा है, बम्बई से भी ये क्या है, लेकिन क्वालिटी जो बम्बई वाला टोपाज जो है वो अच्छा क्वालिटी है, कलकत्ता वाला टोपाज का क्वालिटी इंफीरियर है, जल्दी रस्ट होता है, whatever. RK said मेरा फैक्ट्री जो है, द कंपनी का नाम है विद्युत मेटालिक्स लिमिटेड. मार्केट नीड्स टू नो दैट नेम. द मार्केट विल नो कि इस कंपनी से जो भी प्रोडक्ट आएगा वो ही क्वालिटी वाला प्रोडक्ट है. तो ब्लेड पैकेजिंग पर, टोपाज ब्लेड पैकेजिंग पर ही began to print विद्युत.
टोपाज तो आपका ब्रांड नेम हो गया, but विद्युत is what is producing it.
Correct.
Right.
And with a crazy idea, all these self ideas, with each packaging print run, he would increase that font size of the video bigger.
Better visibility ki.
So that blade came to be known in the market as Vidyut Topaz. Vidyut Topaz versus Calcutta Topaz. So he was always struggling. As a result of that, he had no choice but to become more ruthless and to do this crazy jugad. So, for example, I'll give you one example. He just took things into his own hands and he said, you know what? I can only produce so much. This is my capacity. They can produce so much. Abhi main karunga kya? Main ye karunga. I'm going to manufacture. I'm going to put my products into the market, but then I'm going to take a whole lot of them and put them on containers and ship them abroad. Because if I ship them abroad, then the money that comes from that is foreign exchange that needs to come into this country. Who is going to stop me? Because this country needs foreign exchange cash reserves.
So, right.
Mr. RK was a very generous person. He had a very pure and clean heart, and he had very solid intentions. If I think very, very accurately, तो वो blade ही उनका एक ही love था.
Correct.
His love, his wife, his mistress, his lover, his child, his parent, his सब कुछ वो एक ही double-edged blade था. You know, then everybody else be damned.
Right. हेलो, नमस्कार, गुड आफ्टरनून, वेलकम वंस अगेन टू किताबी बातें, एक पॉडकास्ट जहां हम बात करते हैं भारत की और दुनिया की किताबों के माध्यम से. दोस्तों, अगर आपसे पूछा जाए कि जब बात होती है मेन की शेविंग की, तो आपके माइंड में एक नाम आएगा जिलेट. बट क्या आप जानते हैं कि भारत में जिलेट से पहले ब्रांड्स थे जिनका नाम था सुपरमैक्स, पनामा, टोपाज. इन सारे ब्रांड्स के पीछे एक ही व्यक्ति थे जिन्होंने सारे ब्रांड्स को शुरू करा, उनको सफलता की नई ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचाया, और एक टाइम ये ब्रांड्स लगभग 80 to 90% मार्केट शेयर कमांड करते थे. एक ऐसा ब्रांड जिसने भारत को शेव करना सिखाया, जिसने शेविंग का कल्चर इंट्रोड्यूस करा, जिन्होंने कई तरह के स्टील ब्लेड्स इंट्रोड्यूस करे. इस सबके पीछे एक व्यक्ति थे, लेट श्री RK मल्होत्रा जी. और आज सौभाग्य से मेरे साथ उनकी डॉटर हैं, जो कि खुद एक एक्लेम्ड राइटर भी हैं, और आज उन्होंने अपनी इस बुक एस ऑफ ब्लेड्स जो उन्होंने लिखी है अपने फादर के लिए एक ट्रिब्यूट के तौर पर, और इस बुक के बारे में वो हमारे साथ चर्चा करेंगी. रिनीता मल्होत्रा होरा जी, वेलकम टू किताबी बातें.
नमस्ते जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर हैविंग मी ऑन द पॉडकास्ट. मैं बहुत ही खुश हूँ कि आप मुझे इनवाइट किए. मैं गेस्ट हूँ, और ख़ास मैं आज तो मैं मुंबई से आई हूँ, बट यूजुअली मैं कैलिफोर्निया में रहती हूँ आजकल.
तो रिनीता जी, बुक आपने लिखी, मैंने आपकी प्रोफाइल देखी. आप यू आर मुंबई बॉर्न कैलिफोर्निया बेस्ड नॉवेलिस्ट एंड स्क्रीन राइटर, अवार्ड विनिंग स्क्रीन राइटर, नॉवेलिस्ट. ऑपरेशन मॉम आपकी एक बहुत एक्लेम्ड बुक रही. आपने बहुत से न्यूज़पेपर्स, मीडिया हाउसेस के साथ आपका ताल्लुकात रहे हैं. आपने बहुत कुछ लिखा है. अपने फादर के लिए व्हाई टुक यू सो लॉन्ग टू राइट?
अरे, क्वेश्चन इज वेरी गुड. एक्चुअली ये क्वेश्चन जो है, जो आपने अभी पूछा, मैं भी पूछती रहती हूँ कि व्हाई डिड इट टेक मी सो लॉन्ग, और एक्चुअली इफ आई एम टू करेक्ट दैट थिंकिंग, देन व्हाई इज इट टेकिंग मी सो लॉन्ग. एक्चुअली ट्रूथ यही है, सही बात यही है कि उनकी गुजरने से एटलीस्ट 10 साल पहले, इफ नॉट मोर, मैं उनके पीछे पड़ी रही थी कि प्लीज गिव मी अ स्टोरी पापा. क्योंकि मुझे मालूम ही था कि मेरे पिताजी जो थे, उनके लाइफ वर्क ज़्यादातर इंटरनेट के जमाने के पहले ही हुआ.
जी.
तो forget about social media or phones or anything like that, right? Before the internet even. तो अगर 3 हफ्ते पहले भी अगर आपने गूगल सर्च किया तो मतलब इंटरनेट पे कुछ नहीं होता, कुछ नहीं देख पाते एक्सेप्ट फॉर सम लॉसूट्स ऑफ टोपाज, थिंग्स लाइक दैट, फैमिली लॉसूट्स जो होते हैं बिजनेस में. और ये मुझे मालूम ही था. मैं जर्नलिस्ट थी पहले RTH के रेडियो 3 पब्लिक रेडियो, उसके बाद ब्लूमबर्ग और तरह तरह की मतलब पब्लिकेशंस के लिए मैं फ्रीलांस करती थी, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, CNN एटसेट्रा. एंड सो आई वाज अवेयर कि इंटरनेट पर कुछ है ही नहीं.
जी.
अभी 2010 या 11 तक उनका बिजनेस उन्होंने प्राइवेट इक्विटी के हाथों में मतलब जिम्मेदारी ऑलरेडी दिया था. एंड मुझे मालूम ही था कि अब जमाना मतलब बिल्कुल बदल गया है. Right? So I was after him for a good 10 years, those last 10 years of his life, कि your story needs to be documented. It's not just about you. This is a very important piece of Indian history. अपने इतिहास के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है. Right? लेकिन वो तैयार नहीं थे. बोलते थे नहीं, अभी नहीं, देखा जाएगा, I'll let you know, ये सब. तो इसलिए मुझे शक था कि शायद बातें कभी नहीं करेगा, मतलब परमिशन वैसे देगा ही नहीं. एंड इट वाजंट अंटिल उनके गुजरने के आई थिंक 2 साल पहले या 3 साल पहले वो गिर गए. He was strapped in a hospital bed. फिर he began talking into, at least उन्होंने वादा दिया मुझे कि I will talk into this voice recorder. 1 रिकॉर्डिंग 2 रिकॉर्डिंग बस खत्म हो गई. लेकिन तब मुझे मालूम हुआ कि वो बात करने को तैयार है. फिर कोविड हुआ. हम सब लॉकडाउन हो गए अपने अपने घर में. एंड मेरा सबसे बड़ा फियर यही था कि आई विल नेवर सी माई पेरेंट्स अगेन. तो अक्टूबर 2020 मिड कोविड towards the latter part of COVID, मेरे भाई राजू ने ये ऑर्केस्ट्रेट किया कि वो मेरे 2 पेरेंट्स को वो इंग्लैंड हवाई जहाज पर बिठाकर उन्होंने कहा चल आप इंग्लैंड जाओ, रिनीता आएगी कैलिफोर्निया से, आप वहीं मिलो. And thank gosh for that, because I went through a very exorbitant 2-week quarantine. But then I got the chance to spend about 3.5 weeks with my parents. And उसी दिन से, पहले ही दिन से, Papa started talking. He started talking and मुझे करीबन 14 या 15 घंटों की रिकॉर्डिंग मिली. बहुत ही वैसे तो बकवास रिकॉर्डिंग इन द सेंस ऑफ इट्स माय मदर शाउटिंग कि दवा खाओ, खाना खाओ, डोंट डिस्टर्ब हिम, वैसे. बट he was talking about his story.
That is a primary source of all the
that became my primary source. And uske baad I was in a hurry to interview whoever I could, क्योंकि काफी लोग, you know, family members, colleagues, business staff, ex-workers, काफी लोग मतलब they were at a senior age. So I was in a hurry to get to them, and sure enough, 2 of the people who have been major contributors to the book have passed away before its publication.
Okay. And your dad himself was suffering from dementia, so I think there must have been a challenge, you know, making him understand what you are saying and getting the required information. How difficult was that?
You know, a very interesting question, because you would think that it would be a great challenge. But the moment he started talking about his business and his blade and his loved ones, which were to do with the business, there is no dementia.
Oh, wonderful.
Then he's on it. He's full on, you know, very sharp, talking about sort of everything in with such detail and clarity ke aap mujhe puchoge ke what are you talking about? His memory is totally there, you know. And I remember, in fact, yesterday I launched the book in Mumbai, and a friend of mine came to the book launch, and she was one of the people who happened to be in London at that time, and she'd come to see me, and she'd come to see my parents also. And these are very, very old family friends. And my father, she said, hello, uncle. And wo to bilkul he didn't know who she was, what she was. And she looked at me and she said, what happened? I said, that's the way it is.
Right.
So, there were very few people, though, who saw that side of him.
Right.
Because if you started talking to him, the only thing he ever wanted to talk about was his business. Or फिर तो dementia की बात ही नहीं थी.
Correct. So we'll talk about the book, his growth as a corporate person, the business growth and tremendous growth, of course, as we discussed. The company was commanding 80 to 90% share. And I think it also helps you realize many of the things we take for granted. I mean, the shaving blade or a razor. But there is a story behind it. And that's a story which must be told, because when we talk of business success in India, we usually link it to IT. That's what I have seen. And while that's a very valid thing to do, but there are other stories which usually do not get that much of attention. So in a way it's good that we are getting to know our story. After all, it's an Indian who did this. But before the business growth, before all this became a success, want to know about Mr. RK as a father, as a family man. How was he as a father and a family man?
Again, the question is very simple. Why I am sighing as I say this. Mr. RK was a very generous person. He had a very pure and clean heart, and he had very solid intentions. And intentions with a view to his family. Right. He grew up very close to his nani.
Yes.
This was when he was a child. She was the most influential person in his life. And उन्होंने उनको कहा था कि बेटा कुछ भी करोगे, जिधर भी जाओगे, you must come back to your परिवार, to your roots, और उनको संभालो, क्योंकि वो आप पर विश्वास रखेंगे.
Right.
He took that very seriously. So he was a traditionalist. In his young days, he was studying abroad, Loughborough College, England, और फ्रांस में घूम रहा था, जर्मनी में, यूरोप में, मतलब not just घूमना फिरना, वैसे भी काम के लिए. But he had the opportunity to stay abroad in those days. He was poached by Helena Rubinstein, who was coming up as a big cosmetics queen, if you will. लेकिन उन्होंने अपनी नानी के शब्दों को याद किया. And he came back home when his parents asked him to. And as the youngest of three brothers, he knew that Bade Bhai Saab would always be the karta of the family.
Of the family.
Right? But he was the only one who was a mechanical engineer. Mm-hmm. So this business that the Malhotras were embarking on, razor blades, उन्हीं के हाथों में थे to make sense of the machinery, how to build it, what to do with it, how, very technical product. And so he knew that this was his responsibility, his zimmedari jo thi, he took very, very seriously. So from that point of view, he was an absolute family man.
Right.
He listened to his father. He listened to his elder brothers, which really then depleted him when the conflict happened and he fell out with them. Lekin आगे जाते भी जब अपने nuclear family को देखा जाए, then he was very much a traditionalist के his sons should take over the business. Yes. His elder son should be the karta of the family, etc. And he didn't really know what to do with the women, with the little girls, with me, for example.
Course, which you mentioned in detail in the book.
Yeah. So, but if I look at myself, personality-wise, perhaps I'm a lot like him.
Right.
So that sense of independence, that sense of, you can say, rebellion, jugad, wanting to do things, wanting to question, that very much comes from him. Yeah. And so that also led to a lot of conflict. So as a family man, he wanted this for his family, but then he wanted his family for his blade.
Yes.
If I think very, very accurately, तो वो ब्लेड ही उनका एक ही लव था.
Correct.
His love, his wife, his mistress, his lover, his child, his parent, his सब कुछ वो एक ही double-edged blade था. Correct. Then everybody else be damned.
Right.
And when you say family, I'll say one more thing. Yeah. उनके staff जो थे, उनके co-workers, उनके employees, I always say they were his real family because they were directly connected to that blade.
Correct. That's wonderful. So you mentioned Urban Epstein, and he was seeing an opportunity in cosmetics as well that point of time, but he moved to India to pursue the blades business. So the way I look at it, there are many interesting stories. One, of course, related to the monkey business. Now, I'll be honest, I've read many business stories, and I know there are many weird things people do to get the business up and running. But the Panama story, and most importantly, the monkey business. And when I was reading, for a minute, I thought I was hallucinating. I mean, how is that even possible? But yeah, when people want to do something, they do everything. So if you can tell us a bit about the starting years and especially the monkey business.
Hanji. So the starting years were tough. It is true that Mr. Harbans Lal Malhotra, RK's father, had a business. He had earned some money. He was, you could say, fairly well established. He had started a company called Bharat Construction Company to make tents for the British Army. Abhi aap soch lijiye ki World War II ke baad, there's not so much demand for those tents. तो वो सोच रहे थे कि, what do I do with this? He had registered the name Bharat, and his eldest son, VP Ved Prakash Malhotra, had come across these machine drawings for a razor blade plant. तो उस वक्त सब सोच रहे थे कि चलो इसका हम कुछ कर सकते हैं, but they didn't know how to sort of put it together. So RK was a mechanical engineer who was sent off to study mechanical engineering, and it became his responsibility. And HL Malhotra ने कहा कि चलो I've already registered the name Bharat. It's a perfect name for a Swadeshi brand.
Right.
Bharat will be our first blades. So Bharat became their first blades, but the thing is, in India at that time, there were mostly foreign blades in the country that were selling for usage. Indians had just about gotten into the act. The first person, actually, family and person who entered the razor blade industry was Dilip Dhanukar. With his Hind blades at the time. He was the first person, but the Malhotras quickly sort of overshot that. But the Malhotra said, in order to establish ourselves, हमें alliance करना चाहिए कोई foreign brand के साथ जिनका नाम बहुत ही strong है. फिर अगर हमने उनके साथ alliance किया, उनका franchise ली तो और यहाँ distribute करे उनके नाम पर, then people will know us for that foreign brand. Correct. And that's exactly what they did with Panama. There's a very interesting kind of crazy story about how they got the Panama brand, because the Panama distributor was also after it the same, and the Malhotras with their jugad sort of tricked him out of it.
They outwitted. Ripu Daman was the name, and
exactly.
They got the license to operate.
They outwitted Ripu Daman Bhagat, poor thing, and they got the brand themselves, and they became the distributors of the Panama brand of blades in India. In fact, when RK married his wife, my mother Veena, at that time they were known as Panama Wale Malhotra. Bharat and Panama Wale Malhotra. Now, so they started the razor blade business. Lekin fir bhi, to build these factories, to build these plants, to expand, you need money.
Of course.
The money was always short. Even though there was money, they were still always short. So at that time, in the late 50s, there was a race to develop a vaccination for polio. And it was the European labs, Pfizer and so forth, and the American labs, Eli Lilly. They were actually in a race, the European versus the American labs. And to develop the vaccination, to do the research, उनको चाहिए था rhesus monkeys.
Yes.
जो सिर्फ India से ही आते हैं, right? And so there was a lot of this export of these monkeys to these countries for polio research.
Right.
Now, it was not a very pretty set of circumstances, और उस ज़माने में भी, I won't go into it because it's really quite heartbreaking, but the conditions, of the monkeys, how they were caught, how they were kept in these cages and, stalled on those old-fashioned runways, old-fashioned planes.
Right.
And especially come April-May time frame, जब गर्मी बहुत बढ़ती जाती है, right? It was not a pleasant situation, and in a land which, respects Hanuman.
Worships monkeys.
Exactly, So there was a lot of contentiousness just in this trade, and, people didn't want to do it, and it was considered dirty business, but it was very profitable. So Malhotra saw this.
Practicality overtook
Practicality.
everything else.
And H.L. Malhotra ने अपने दोनों H.L. Malhotra ने अपने दोनों बेटों को कहा था, SN, the middle son, Surendranath, and R.K., his youngest, कि you need to get into this, raise money for the razor blade business. So 2 of them got in, SN got out fairly quickly.
Right.
But R.K. was stuck with it, and he did not like it at all. But it needed to be done.
Correct.
So एक हाथ से he was a mechanical engineer. And, building machines, as ek haath se, he is like trying to raise the money through this very undesirable means of business. And the amount of stories, that there have been around that. The joke was always that before razor blades, R.K. was in the monkey business. But
that actually laid the foundation in some way or the other for, this business. So other than, we will take, the viewers through the entire journey of, Panama and Topaz, and then everything was like sold out eventually. One of the interesting things in the book is also you've intertwined the business and the family issues together. And there were certain family issues which were mentioned. Before that was related to marriage. So he found a girl for himself, but it didn't work out, as happens in families, especially in Punjabi families, because there are a lot of, you can say, restrictions and expectations of the parents, something I described very beautifully in the book. And finally married a woman not of his choice originally. So if you can take us through that.
Yes, absolutely. So R.K. was a traditionalist, and his frame of reference was the Marwadi business community. There was a handful of Punjabi business families in Calcutta at that time, and he was very close to all of them. And the Thapars especially. And he had a lot of friends in the Thapar family, and he saw them, beginning to get married. And, one of them said to him, Chalo, Babbu, they used to call him Babbu, abhi aapka bhi samay aa gaya hai, isn't it time you got married?
Right.
And again, like I say, he was a traditionalist. He had come back because, his mother especially wanted him back. But he saw that, abhi ye kya hai? They're not taking any interest in my marriage. Chalo, I should get myself married. It's literally, he got himself engaged to a young girl called Sunita Judge. She was Calcutta based. Now, that did not sit well with his mother, Kaushalya Rani, because unki ek, self-developed policy thi that she didn't want daughters-in-law from Calcutta. Kyun? Because in traditional Punjabi mother-in-law style, अगर वो कलकत्ते से ही है, then उनकी families भी यही है, then अगर कोई trouble हो, then they are going to interfere and get involved. Whereas if their families are from outside, then there's no way they can come in and interfere and I dominate.
Right.
This was her modus operandi, very strategic, as a mother-in-law. So she was not happy about this engagement. And in R.K.'s words, she messed it up. There were all sorts of misbehaviors that he would quote, कि वो ऐसे नहीं करती थी, she wouldn't respect her parents and this and that. Typically Punjabi tradition में, once you get engaged or once you're getting married, the respect that, you show towards your samdhi it's very, we take this very seriously. Right. But she was not having it. She would not treat them well, or it wasn't going down well, so the engagement basically fell apart.
बात नहीं बनी and वो
नहीं बनी.
Right.
And she was adamant कि मैं ही चुनूंगी अपनी बहू, and you are no one to go and select your own bride.
Right.
So the story came up also, last night at the book launch, because my Buaji came, R.K.'s sister, who was in St. Bede's College in Simla with my mother. My mother was 1 year above her. और they were already friends at that point. तो उन्होंने कहा अपनी माँ को, there is this girl. So immediately Mrs. H.L. was on the next train over to Simla with her daughter. And in my mother's words, she just went in, marched in, saw Veena Vij and said, Chalo, ho gaya, that's the one. And that was the end of Veena Vij's college career.
Right.
She was married off before she had a chance to even finish.
Right.
And it was all in Mrs. H.L.'s hands.
This is interesting, and the fact that you mentioned this, especially as she didn't want a family which would be nearby so that it would interfere. I won't speak much. I don't want to be labeled as a misogynist. But yeah, this was really interesting to know about, family, that everyone in some way or the other, especially the Punjabis, they think alike when it comes to matrimony and the matrimony proposals and everything. Coming back to the business again, the second inning. So we see the marriage took place and then came the business growth. There was diversification, acquisitions, as you're talking about the Hyderabad factory and all. That also led to tensions.
Yes.
How do you see these two things taking place? I mean, the business expansion, as we said, 80-90% market share. And of course, the certain tensions in the family. How was that phase?
तो जो आपने पूछा था पहले is like you've intertwined.
Yeah.
And for me, I could not but intertwine because they were always intertwined.
Yes.
And the progress of the business is directly proportional to the family getting along, and the decline of the business or splits or obstacles directly proportional to the family not getting along.
Right.
It's, if I'm to put it in very simple words. And unfortunately, this kind of thing happens in business families, especially in Punjabi business families,
Right.
I'm going to say. I'm
course.
going to own that. और ये बात जो misogyny के बारे में, and thank you for your respect there, unfortunately, it has been the way in the Malhotra household and in many Punjabi families,
Right.
business families. And I am going to make a little bit of a point of it because you see it certainly with the wives who came in as daughter-in-laws. And then you see it with the daughters because daughters never have a share in the business. There is no question,
Correct.
And people have asked me, well, how is that something you didn't fight for? You're so independent, you're rebel. What is the point of wasting energy fighting for something that, is a no-go anyway? And as the youngest, it's not like I was done any favors by, 3 elder female cousins. Now, if I go back to conversations I have had, RK and Veena ke saath, my parents, there was a point that the family, he was very connected to his family of origin, जो मैंने कहा था, बहुत ही traditionalist
yes,
mindset,
right.
okay? और तब तक everything was working just fine. They were in it together, House of Malhotras, building blades, पहले भारत, उसके बाद अशोक, उसके बाद Topaz stainless, premium brand. Within 3 years of launch, number 1 brand in the country, acquiring diversification, जो आपने कहा. Then the issue started coming about when it became clear that, you see, the eldest brother, Mr. VP, adopted the second brother's male heir.
Yes.
And the second brother, Mr. SN, never had any male issue after that. So de facto, the two of them had one male heir between them. RK had 2 male heirs.
Right.
So their heir was getting 2/3 of Mr. HL's asset value, and these 2 grandsons on, Mr. RK's sons getting 1/6. Therein lies the beginning of the family problems and feuds, right? Now, I did hear from my parents that at one point in time when this was up for discussion, sometime in the 70s, Mr. VP, the eldest, उन्होंने कहा था कि there are 7 grandchildren, why don't we just split equally?
Into all of
Yeah.
them.
That was not a misogynist statement.
Right. Of course.
At all. In
Right.
fact, when I heard this directly from my parents' mouth, I was shocked because I had never heard this before.
Right.
And I said, what happened? मैंने पूछा उनको, and my father said, that would not be fair to Mr. VP's son.
Okay.
And I said, hello, you're my father. I'm your daughter. What do you mean it's not, So when you talk about misogyny, it doesn't necessarily, I have said, okay, misogyny exists, but it's not across the board.
Yes.
Clearly, Mr. VP had a very fair sort of equitable distribution plan in mind.
Correct.
And I remember looking at my mother, I said, Mommy, and she said, no, Papa is absolutely right. It would not be fair to his son. So, what do I say? This kind of thing was always a bone of contention. And when it came down to and back to the point of view of the sons, the grandsons at that point, and किसको क्या मिलेगा और कैसे बांटेंगे ये जायदाद जो है.
Right.
That was always an issue, and at some point the family had to split.
Correct. So, but before the split, you talked about the dominance of your dad's company's products and his business acumen. So, it was he, in a sense, inherited business from his father. He already had a business running. So, you can say while he had some advantage that he did not have absolutely had to start from scratch. He did have that background and everything, but yet he still, you can say to an extent, he started many things from scratch. And his business acumen, as you mentioned, that he hired an ex-Wilkinson engineer when he cannot buy a company, poach their talent, and Topaz was born. Then he applied this, his thinking that through film industry, we can, through, the hero as a producer, we can popularize your product. And no wonder we see a lot of, market share. Then came when this problem came with the Monopolies Inquiry Commission. He started a new product. His innovation and business acumen was very much there. But do you think once this Topaz thing got over and he started Supermax, the situation was very different? Was he the same businessman, or did he become more, you can say, mean or cruel when it came to getting business?
See, RK was a bipolar man. Okay, perhaps not diagnosed medically, but definitely a bipolar man with highs and lows.
Yeah.
Very strong, very dominant, very matlab like a raging bull in a china shop. And then in difficult times, increasingly as the years went on, very depressed, very weak, very almost helpless, you could say. And it always had to do with the business, state of the cash flow.
Yeah.
Cash flow was always difficult. मतलब जितना ही successful business था, जितना ही profitable in the sense of sales हो रहे हैं, there was always some kind of cash flow problem.
Right.
Many reasons for this: exports, delays in payments, things like that. And the major factory asset that he was granted at the time of the split, was in Thane, Mumbai, on the outskirts of Mumbai,
Right.
which was not actually a factory, but it was an R&D center. Now, what is the difference? An R&D center has a far more limited manufacturing capacity. So you're never going to get the license to manufacture if you are not registered, given a factory designation.
Right.
This was a problem because RK was given one or two other assets jo unko develop hi karna tha, but barren land in his words, that he had to start from scratch.
Right.
Whereas his brothers had fully fledged factories that were given in their share of the settlement. So he was always struggling. And as a result of that, he had no choice but to become more ruthless and to do this crazy jugad. So, for example, I'll give you one example. He just took things into his own hands and he said, you know what? I can only produce so much. This is my capacity. They can produce so much. Abhi main karunga kya? Main ye karunga. I'm going to manufacture. I'm going to put my products into the market, but then I'm going to take a whole lot of them and put them on containers and ship them abroad. Because if I ship them abroad, then the money that comes from that is foreign exchange that needs to come into this country. Who is going to stop me? Because this country needs foreign exchange cash reserves. So it was is that logical or illogical? Now you tell me, but he said, I'm doing it. And he did. That led to more stress because, all very well said and done, but there were delays for the payments to come back. So he was always living in fear that, मैंने ये कंटेनर भेजा है, मैंने माल बेच दिया, पैसे अभी तक नहीं आए. Is this, am I going to be nabbed? Is this a FERA FERA regulation sort of, problem? Is it going to cause me? So he was always living, with this struggle. So upar niche, but he had to become very, very ruthless, go into areas that were uncharted, do things in a manner that only survival of the fittest,
correct,
could achieve. And that's
correct.
What RK did. Even when he went from relinquishing, it's not that he relinquished, but his rights to Topaz was stripped. So it's not that he relinquished. He had no choice. But he had already started preparing for the build-up of Supermax into the double-edged razor segment, which is the largest selling segment of blades in the market, even today,
yeah.
you know. And Supermax was a brand that he had jo apne kabu mein tha. He had it registered under his organization. It was not conflicted with the brothers. Original plan nahi tha ki Supermax double-edged blade ke naam par banana chahiye. It was supposed to be a twin track shaving systems brand. But he suddenly changed it because he knew that his days of being able to legally manufacture topaz abhi kam hai aur ye samay nazdeek aa raha hai jab mujhse
वो भी
बिल्कुल
right.
छीन लेंगे मेरे हाथों से. So he had begun to prepare for it and just again doing crazy jugad that there were two topazes in the market. Initially there was some confusion in the market कि कलकत्ते से भी topaz आ रहा है, बम्बई से भी ये क्या है, लेकिन क्वालिटी जो बम्बई वाला टोपाज जो है वो अच्छा क्वालिटी है, कलकत्ता वाला टोपाज का क्वालिटी इंफीरियर है, जल्दी रस्ट होता है, whatever. RK said मेरा फैक्ट्री जो है, the company का नाम है विद्युत मेटालिक्स लिमिटेड. मार्केट नीड्स टू नो दैट नेम. The market will know कि इस कंपनी से जो भी प्रोडक्ट आएगा वो ही क्वालिटी वाला प्रोडक्ट है. तो ब्लेड पैकेजिंग पर, टोपाज ब्लेड पैकेजिंग पर ही began to print विद्युत.
टोपाज तो आपका ब्रांड नेम हो गया, but विद्युत is what is producing it.
Correct.
Right.
And with a crazy idea, all these self ideas, with each packaging print run, he would increase that font size of the vidyut bigger.
Better visibility ki.
So that blade came to be known in the market as Vidyut Topaz. Vidyut Topaz versus Calcutta Topaz. And when he was, when the court ruled against his being able to manufacture topaz at all, and in fact recalled a container that had already reached international waters, by that time he had started injecting Supermax into the market with each of his topaz containers, just to get the stockists to try it out for free. And it seems like what happened overnight, although it wasn't overnight, but now it seems like that, Supermax suddenly just took off. And that became his legacy brand.
Right. But before Supermax success, which undoubtedly, as you are right, became a legacy brand, letting go of the brands which you built on your own from scratch, which became, a hallmark of everything related to shaving, which gave you an identity. How difficult would that have been for him as a person? I mean, you would have noticed that, when these things would have happened. Letting go of something you built, you nurtured. Even if you're getting into something similar, but there's always a sense of attachment, to what you did. So how was his reaction, or was he able to get on with this thing quickly and started focusing on Supermax? How did that happen? How was that phase for him?
It is such an interesting question you ask me, because if I think about the Mr. RK of the 1980s, that is a totally different man to the Mr. RK of the 2010s.
Right.
Because in the 1980s, he was relinquishing Topaz, which he had built from scratch, as you rightly say.
Right.
And in 2010, 2011, he had to relinquish Supermax. Which perhaps he thought he was doing voluntarily, but didn't quite realize. Now, in his younger days, he was in his 40s, 50s, in the 80s, and he knew that he had no choice but to survive, and to survive like a king.
Yes.
So he had this, again, bulldog, lion, jo bhi kaho mentality ke mujhe karna hi karna hai. I am the blade king of India. I am the mechanical engineer. I am a man of steel, of machinery. I make the machines. I roll the raw material. Nobody can question my authority. And he had that attitude. So there was no depression at that point. There was no sadness. He just cut it. Like a malignant tumor.
Right.
Gone. Okay? I have no more topaz in my life. It's over. This
no
is my
emotions, pure
no
business.
emotions. Just
business.
Just business. And that is why Supermax took off overnight and then became not only India's number one blade, but the number one blade in the world by volume.
Right.
Gillette was always number one by price.
Yes.
Value.
Yes.
But Supermax was number one 80 plus countries by volume. लेकिन second time जब ये हुआ, when he was bought out by private equity, I should say, when Actis came in with a private equity injection 2010, he didn't really understand, I would say, how private equity works. He was treating it like a bank loan.
Right.
You know, and he was very quickly ejected from his company. At that point, he totally fell apart.
Right.
He was depressed. He couldn't come to grips with जो मैंने अपने हाथों से बनाया है, ये blade, ये पूरी जिंदगी. This is my life work.
Right.
How can it be taken away from me? And he was desperate for that blade in a manner that, you know, somebody is obsessive about a lost lover.
Yes.
You know, he just
Certain.
couldn't see beyond it.
Well, that was in a way was his second inning, so to speak, in the business. After proving his mettle with Topaz, he moved into Supermax. It gained a lot of popularity, a lot of sales, but eventually things didn't go as planned. So I wanted to ask here, before this Actis thing came in, बात हो रही थी जिलेट के एक्विजिशन की
बिल्कुल.
भी. और अब वो तो आप हाइंडसाइट में तो आप कह सकते हैं कि सही था या गलत था, बट उस टाइम आपका डिसीजन मेकिंग कुछ और तरह से चलता है. कुछ को लगता है हम कॉम्पीट कर लेंगे, एंड देयर एग्जांपल्स वेयर इंडियन कंपनीज हैव कॉम्पीटेड वेल विद द वेस्टर्न ब्रांड्स एंड वाइस वर्सा एज वेल, जहां नहीं भी हुआ. ऐसा क्या सर्कमस्टेंसेस रहे कि उस ऑफर को नहीं कंसीडर हुआ, प्लस एक्टिस का जो पार्टिसिपेशन रहा, एंड फ्रॉम अ कंपनी विच लाइक हैड ग्रेट सक्सेस इवेंचुअली थिंग्स फेल अपार्ट. तो आपको क्या लगता है ये क्या सिचुएशन रही कि एक जिलेट का एक्विजिशन का ऑफर प्लस एक्टिस और चीजें इतनी ज्यादा खराब हुई एक ऐसे ब्रांड के लिए विच वाज डूइंग अमेजिंग बिजनेस?
Actually, 90s into the early 2000s जब जिलेट कंसिडर कर रहे थे और ऑफर उन्होंने दिया था और ऑफर उन्होंने डबल भी किया था, आरके वांटेड टू सेल. जो मैंने पहले कहा, वो बाइपोलर आदमी थे और ही हैड रीच्ड अ लो और बहुत ही स्ट्रगल कर रहे थे. कैश फ्लो प्रॉब्लम्स थी. बाय दैट टाइम ही वाज आल्सो इन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद हिज ओन organization, the export and the export sales, the overseas side of his business, RK's business, he was disagreeing with them. यहाँ India market में RK referred to his brothers as A group and himself as B group, always the traditionalist.
Right.
Right? So A group's blades in the market, there was a major price war going on. They would keep their prices very, very low. So RK felt that he also has to keep his Supermax prices low.
Right.
Now the export sales team, not sales team, the export departments, the overseas portion of the business, so he would be after them ke paise bhejo. And they said, you know, instead of being dependent on us for foreign sales, why don't you increase your prices apne Indian market mein? And he just couldn't. He felt he couldn't because his competitors, his
Right.
A group brothers, were keeping their prices very low.
Right.
And, you know, the overseas, RK's overseas organization, you know, said, what do you care about that? You just increase your prices. Look at Gillette, you know, all over the world. They have, you know, high prices. They don't care about, other people. You should also command a certain market share. But RK believed in having his blades accessible to every single Indian consumer. Okay, so he was not of this kind of thinking, raise the price to an extent where it's only for a certain portion of the market, etc. Okay, he wanted to have, control of the mass market.
Right.
Now, Gillette, when they came in, they were initially very confused कि market में है ये Malhotra group. First they thought कि एक ही family है,
Right.
rightly so.
Right.
लेकिन उन्होंने realize किया कि actually दो groups है, ये A group और B group. और ये भी ब्लेड बनाते, वो भी ब्लेड बनाते, और फर्क है. मतलब it took them time over the course of a decade practically to figure it all out. First they didn't know which Malhotras they wanted to tie with. Eventually they decided it was RK's organization and it was the Supermax brand of blades because that is the higher quality blade, one. B, there's all of this technical know-how because he being the mechanical engineer.
He knew the nuances.
Exactly. He knew the nuances. He developed that whole thing backward, vertical integration. And he had full command of the market. Gillette was not necessarily interested in RK's prowess outside of India. So even though he commanded the Middle Eastern and Africa market, which is the largest shaving market outside of India, they weren't so interested in that because they're Gillette.
Right.
Right?
So, correct.
They were interested in the Indian market. So it became clear to them and not to RK or RK's family at that point that their plans were actually to take over and shut down the foreign operations or absorb the foreign operations into what they were doing.
Right.
Now, आरके का पॉलिसी क्या था कि ये एक्सपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट्स जो हैं, जो ओवरसीज बिजनेस है, वो बाहरगांव के जो भी बिजनेस प्रोस्पेक्ट्स है वो मतलब कंट्रोल करेंगे, whether it's sales, whether it's distribution, whether it is a negotiation with Gillette. So negotiation with Gillette doesn't come under sales,
Right.
so to speak.
Of course.
But आरके का मेंटालिटी था कि जो इंडिया में होगा, that's factories, बाकी बातचीत आप लोग करो. This was a mistake.
Right.
This was a mistake. Because when that overseas organization understood that they would be made redundant, they essentially blocked it. RK was not aware of this.
Right.
Until many, many years later, it wasn't until I interviewed Brandy Gill, who was the head of Gillette India at the time, who was leading this negotiation process. It wasn't until I interviewed him for my book that all of this came to light.
Wonderful.
और मुझे याद था, actually मैं कॉलेज में थी उन दिनों में, and RK was very, very desperate to sell. He was on a bipolar low, and I remember him calling on the phone, very upset, saying to me, I need the money. We need to survive. I want to sell. This is my life work, but they won't let me. They won't, meaning the family won't let me. So they fought tooth and nail, and it didn't happen.
Right. So we basically saw a person's ambition which faced issues very important from within the family. He started everything from scratch. He let go of the brand he nurtured. And the second brand also eventually he had to give away. So all in all, would you say he lived a happy life in a sense? He was popular. He had an impact on the people's lives. And as I said, something like shaving products, हम शायद ध्यान नहीं देते होंगे. We use it everywhere. But सबकी एक कहानी है. And this is again a very interesting story undoubtedly. What was his entire life, if you have to sum it up? What kind of life he lived?
It's very hard to use the word happy. क्योंकि लाइफ में ऊपर नीचे मतलब ये vicissitudes
Right.
जो है होते रहते हैं.
Correct.
And RK knew that. But he was a man who very much lived in the moment. This is not the man who was projecting 20 years, 5-year business
Yes.
plan. Again, Marwadi frame of reference, that was his business school, if you will. आज क्या होगा? सुबह मतलब सवेरे स्प्रेडशीट पे क्या है?
Right.
कैसे शुरू करते हैं और अंत तक कितने सेल्स हुए आज? What is your accounting system for today?
Right.
That was his frame, living in the moment. And he lived in the moment and he lived for now. And now for him was always that blade. It was that blade. So while that blade was everything that he focused on, you could say he was very happy doing that. And so therefore his life was happy.
Happy.
He would shut everything else out. But the amount that man has struggled to make a mark is just something that many people have struggled with many things. But, it's like when I sit back today and consider his life work, 84 years or 85 years he lived, and for 60 years he was in this business. building it, constantly at a stage of building it, right? I question, what has his life work amounted to? Where has it gone? That's why I was very keen to write this book.
Right.
To me, it's a tribute. People say it's a tribute to your father. It's not a tribute actually to my father. It's a tribute to India and Indian industry and the FMCG sector and razor blades specifically. क्योंकि अपने इतिहास का बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कहानी है जो must not be forgotten.
Of course.
And I think we as people, we know कि हम मतलब रेत से आते रेत tak, nikalte, at the end, there's nothing left. It's
Correct.
just we turn to dust, And RK at some point was resigned to that and knew perhaps that all that will be left of this is the story, is the kahani.
Correct.
And maybe that would give him some happiness, I hope.
Yes, most certainly. Wonderful. I think, first of all, a very, very, I would say, well-written book, first of all, as is, it's not just a tribute to your father, it's a tribute to India, it's a tribute to this relatively lesser known business. In a sense, business is known, but the story is not known. It's a product which everyone uses, but don't know the story behind it. All in all those who are watching, I would say a wonderful book. It's a story of a man who dared to think differently, who dared to dream differently, who dared to take risk, who built a brand which, as we mentioned, commanded an 80 to 90% market share in a big country like India. If you're interested in the history of not just businesses, but a history of India and how the history of a person who shaped India in his or her own way and at the same time facing challenges within the family itself, this is the book you should be reading. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful pleasure talking to you, and I must say a very, very well written book which I thoroughly enjoyed reading.
Thank you so much. Been such a pleasure to be on the show, and I'm so happy to contribute this not just to India but to your show and to your viewers.
Thank you, Renta.